Hello everybody, it's your girl Jasmine too. Welcome back to my video, or my channel. I'm sorry, I keep saying video. Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today's video is going to be story time, how I manifested my rent or living in my place for like a year. I said a few months in my last video because I didn't want to but I lived in my actual place of dwelling, which is my apartment, for a whole year without making the payment. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you how I did it. This video is probably gonna be a little bit longer than the last one that I did, but this is gonna be a good one. So before we get into the video, I do wanna let you know that I offer one-on-one coaching. I also offer other spiritual services and things like that. So yeah, you can go ahead and add me for that. Also, I wanna go, you can go ahead and email me for that, the spiritual services. So I wanna let you guys know that, I also offer for this month, $111 for a 30-minute phone call. And then for an hour phone call, it'll be $222 for a whole hour, okay? Now, if you want to do, that's just a special that I'm running, and that's just for phone calls only. Instead of doing like email coaching or text message coaching, you do have this opportunity to go ahead and speak to me instead. Also, I think that's the only special I'm running this month. So you can look in the description box to see what pretty much suits you at this moment, okay? If you guys want to go ahead and add me on social media, I also have TikTok and Instagram. You can go ahead and add me on that. They're like not deactivated, but I'm not currently like going online right now. But if you want to go ahead and add me, I will add you as soon as possible. And then you can be on my social media, okay? To see more of my life. So let's get into the video. Guys, okay, so about, what year are we in? 2024. Okay, so about 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I ran into a situation where I was living a place and I had moved in with a person, and me and that person ended up not getting along, and they had to move out, okay? And for a whole year, I did not pay the rent. I did not have the means to carry it because at the time I was going through, I felt like I was kind of going through an awakening at the moment. Like I was like learning a lot about like magic and manifestation and things like that. And I was just kind of transforming who I was. So I went from having the same career for about a decade. I was an agent. I was in insurance for like a whole decade. And I absolutely freaking hated it. Like I would just do the same thing, like talk to people about their plans all the time. I just wasn't a fan of doing that anymore. So the issue I was running into is that I just didn't know what I wanted to do when it came to working anymore. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not want to work. I wanted to be independent. I did not want to work with anybody ever again. So at that moment, I didn't have the means to pay my rent. I just didn't have the money to do it. And so I set out, instead of trying to manifest a job or manifest the money, I simply had a recording that said, I'm so happy to be living in my apartment rent free. Okay. And I would play this recording on Parrot every single freaking night, guys. I would literally play this recording all night, okay? And the series of events that happened to help me live there the office literally, or the community that I lived in, never contacted me at all about not even paying it until like the 6th or 7th month is when they actually contacted me and say, hey, you haven't paid, and your bill now is like well over like a certain amount. It was a lot, actually. I owed a lot of money. So hearing that you owe money on rent and they let you live in a unit that's like unheard of. Even I was shocked. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm literally doing something that doesn't really make sense, right? But it worked, guys. I was shocked because I would have never believed that by me just saying this recording that it would have worked. It did. So I lived there for a whole entire year. And I think around the 7th month is when they sent me a notification saying that, you know, you now have to pay this. So at that point is when I started panicking. That's when I started panicking around the 7th month. I was like, oh my God, I received notification now. They're telling me that I got to pay this, that, and the third. So I still kept on paying my recording. Like, okay, I'm so happy to be living here rent free, da 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 da. So what ended up happening was the funniest thing. The person that had to leave the apartment initially, remember in the beginning of the story, they had to like move out because we just weren't getting along. That is the person that ended up paying that large amount for me on like the 7th month. They ended up paying the whole entire amount for me. It wasn't like they were happy to pay it. They just paid it because they were just like, oh, you know, like they had to. So they ended up paying the rent for me. I ended up living there again for another 5 months, right? So at this point, again, I went another 5 months without paying. So this is on the 5th or 6th month. The 5th month, the office writes me and it's like, look, your lease is almost up. You haven't sent us a renewal. You haven't done anything and you're still living here. So you're going to have to find a way to like, you know, get out. So, and it really didn't matter to me because at this point, my lease was over. I had already planned on moving out because I wanted a bigger apartment, okay? So they let me stay there for a whole entire year because of these affirmations. And when I went to the office and I was trying to figure out like, how did this happen? They kept on saying, you know, we were trying to give you time. We just felt like you were going to end up coming up with the money at some point. Like my affirmations were affecting the way they were thinking. They were kicking people out left and right in that apartment. And I saw it. I saw people downstairs with eviction notices. I saw people across the way with eviction notices. I never got one. I literally never got one. I protected myself by simply playing this recording and telling myself that the rent was in. Now, the rent was already paid. The rent was already paid. Like, I'm living here rent free. Like, never worrying about it. And that's how I end up living there for a whole entire time free. Now, guys, I can give you some tips. If I never panicked, I probably would still be living there, honestly, because it just, now it makes sense, like, why this all happened. Because it was my recording. I used to think like, okay, maybe this is just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's literally your affirmations and your thoughts that manifest your whole entire reality. So because I was living in a reality of my rent was being paid up and I'm living rent free, that's what the mirror had to show me back out. And that's pretty much it, right? So I hope this video was helpful. I don't really like to go into depth in this story about how I did that because I literally am, I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed about it, but it's like something I wouldn't encourage. Nowadays, instead of I would never have a recording saying I'm living rent free unless I really wanted to live in some cottage rent free. Now I kind of just manifest having a bunch of money, no matter what. Like I always have money. I would say like I have money to pay everything, that I can afford anything and everything. I don't have to worry about like not paying stuff because now I'm manifesting me being wealthy. The version of me that's wealthy is not dodging rent. It is now able to pay whatever. So that's what I was saying in the last video is like, before I used to do that, but now I have now been able to manifest just always having money because that's one thing I like. I don't like to not pay for things. At that time I was kind of desperate, but I like to pay for things. Like I want to be able to pay for my things with no issue. So now I just always manifest that I have money. I always have money to pay for my bills. Like I always have a bunch of money just waiting for me and at my disposal and things like that, instead of thinking from the person that doesn't have any money. Okay. So that is another story time. Hopefully that video was helpful to everybody. I don't like to be too personal with my stories, but yes, you can manifest anything. And somebody's telling you, if you can think of it, like you literally can manifest it. And I knew that from that day, from when that happened, I knew that, okay, literally you can manifest anything. Because if I can be sitting in a unit for a whole year I'm talking about I didn't pay my water bill or anything and nobody ever said anything to me, then you can manifest anything. Do I recommend it? Literally, this is your life. You do what you want. But for me, I now manifest the fact that I always have money. I always make sure that I have money because I do not want to live like that anymore. That was kind of like a little scary for me, but to each its own. People do what they want to do. But this video, I just put it up here because my subscribers and followers asked for it. So I made sure that I put up a video saying, you know, you can manifest anything. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.